Hello, and welcome to Advanced Clinical Associates. This orientation video for new employees and contractors was created to familiarize you with the history, culture, and policies and procedures that shape our agency and transform our delivery of home health care. At the end of this video, you will be provided with an employee handbook, an orientation attestation, and some additional documents to sign. Please follow along with the handout and make note of any questions you may have. We hope you find this video informational and helpful. Advanced Clinical Associates was founded in May 2007 by David Saltow and Chris Zdebski. With over 15 years of critical care experience as a registered nurse and over 20 years as a business visionary, David has played a vital role in the development of the firm. Chris has over 25 years experience in the European and American healthcare industries. Although originally founded as a staffing agency, Advanced Clinical Associates soon shifted its focus exclusively to home health care in May 2008. Currently, ACA specializes in catastrophic injury management and patients with complex medical needs. Next, we have our services. We'll start with catastrophic injury management. Advanced Clinical Associates is quickly becoming one of the premier catastrophic injury management companies in Phoenix, capable of assisting the highest complexity patients in the comforts of their own home, all while managing their daily clinical needs as if the patient were still in a hospital setting. As a company specializing in catastrophic injury management, Advanced Clinical Associates has established strategic alliances with trauma centers and rehabilitation hospitals throughout the greater Phoenix area to manage many different types of injuries, including traumatic brain injury, acquired brain injury, traumatic amputation, orthopedic injuries, stroke patients, burn injury, and neuromuscular disorders. Next, we have 24/7 skilled nursing. Advanced Clinical Associates also offers 24/7 skilled nursing services, private duty nursing care, and companionship care designed to help our clients live as independently as possible for as long as possible. Next, we have infusion and phlebotomy. For patients who require specialized infusion therapy, Advanced Clinical Associates offers home infusion therapy services as an alternative to the hospital setting by making it possible for patients to receive high-tech infusion therapy in the comfort of their own homes. Home infusion has proven to be safe and cost-effective alternative to inpatient care for many disease stages and therapies. For home phlebotomy, we have many chronic illnesses require regular monitoring through laboratory analysis. Advanced Clinical Associates accomplishes this task and assumes clinical accountability for tracking and scheduling future laboratory testing requirements. With strategic relationships with both LabCorp International and Sonoran Quest, the convenience of having your blood drawn in the luxury of your own home is just a phone call away. Next, we have services continued. Complex wound care. Advanced Clinical Associates is quickly becoming one of the premier complex wound management companies in Phoenix, capable of managing any difficult wound in the comfort of a patient's home. With strategic relationships with multiple wound clinics and plastic surgery groups in Phoenix, any type of wound service required can be managed. From simple post-operative wound evaluation to complex wound vacuum systems and burn injury care, no wound is too complex for Advanced Clinical Associates to manage. Next, we have skilled respiratory services. Advanced Clinical Associates offers skilled respiratory care services and in-home 24/7 ventilator assistance. Our skilled clinicians evaluate, treat, and care for patients with breathing or other cardiopulmonary disorders. In a home setting, our respiratory therapists are capable of offering in-home ventilator management, chest physiotherapy, CPAP and BiPAP management, in addition to therapeutic medication treatments. Finally, we have dietary consultation. Advanced Clinical Associates recognize the importance of integrating proper nutrition in the healing process. Many chronic conditions require medical nutrition therapy. Advanced Clinical Associates is a premier provider of medical nutrition services. Our registered dietitians provide patients with comprehensive nutrition plans tailored for their individual needs. Comprehensive personalized treatments are available for many different conditions. Next, we have our mission. Advanced Clinical Associates is committed to delivering high-quality, cost-effective, comprehensive home health care for patients with complex medical needs, and to upholding a higher standard of health care through integrity and compassion for all we serve. Our mission is supported by our 4 values: patients first, expertise and clinical accountability, excellence, and dedication. Patients first. Advanced Clinical Associates was founded on the principle that patients come first. As a result, Advanced Clinical Associates has developed a system which revolves around this core value. We understand how difficult it is to deal with an ailment, and we feel it is our responsibility to make the experience as comfortable and beneficial as possible. Next, we have expertise and clinical accountability. Advanced Clinical Associates has assembled an interdisciplinary team of highly trained clinicians, allowing us to provide the best outcomes for our patients. Focusing on expertise and clinical accountability, our team recognizes problems and discusses them with the physician and other team members to ensure the best patient outcomes. Next, we have excellence. Advanced Clinical Associates' goal is to provide the best clinical outcomes and to create a foundation of excellence within the firm. We expect the best from our team, and as a result, we provide the best for our patients. Our goal is to provide a model of excellence for the entire home health care industry. And finally, we have dedication. We have a passion to devote our time and services to our patients in order to render their ability to live more freely and comfortably. We feel it is our duty to find the most efficient and beneficial solutions for our patients. Now we have the organizational structure for Advanced Clinical Associates. This diagram provides a chain of command for the communication of all agency matters. At the top, you will see the governing body, which has full responsibility for all agency operations and programs. The governing body meets at least 2 times per year and appoints an administrator to be responsible for all agency operations and programs on a day-to-day basis. The administrator appointed by the governing body is David Saltow. The Professional Advisory Board meets 2 times per year and is responsible for establishing and reviewing the agency's policies and procedures. Beneath the Home Health Administrator, we have the Director of Patient Care Services. The Director of Patient Care Services has direct authority, responsibility, and accountability for all clinical operations and programs. Chris Zdebski is the Director of Patient Care Services. Beneath the Director of Patient Care Services is the Home Health Clinical Supervisor, which provides day-to-day oversight of field staff. The Clinical Supervisor is Chris Zdebski. All of the field staff are found below the clinical supervisor and are highlighted in the red box. Each of the field staff has their own individualized job descriptions that are formulated based on the scope of practice guidelines established by the state of Arizona. Next, we have policies and procedures. There are written policies and procedures located at the office for reference. These are created and approved by the Professional Advisory Board. It is your responsibility to become familiar with and follow all of Advanced Clinical Associates' policies and procedures. Next is record keeping and reporting. All patient encounters are recorded on the daily visit form. Patients are admitted using the Outcome and Assessment Information Set documentation. This is also known as the OASIS. Records must be kept on an ongoing basis. Retroactive or prospective record keeping is unacceptable. Scanned, faxed, or electronic notes should be submitted immediately following the patient encounter for record keeping purposes. However, originals must be turned into the office by Sunday for payroll and billing purposes. The notes must be turned in addition with the time card by Sunday. Next, we have reporting parameters. The patient's normal baseline patterns or readings will be established at the start of care and documented, and will be considered when establishing specific reporting parameters for the plan of care and/or for the home health aid care plan. All findings and notifications are to be documented in the patient's medical record. The specific reporting parameters will include, but are not limited to, vital signs, blood glucose, weight, bowel movement, oxygen saturation, etc. Next, we have privacy and confidentiality of protected health information. So we'll start with a few definitions, and first we have privacy. Privacy is an individual's right to limit disclosure of personal information. Confidentiality is defined as the safekeeping of data or information so as to restrict access to individuals who have need, reason, and permission for such access. And our final definition is protected health information, PHI. Health information that contains information such that an individual person can be identified as the subject of that information. Confidentiality continued. Confidentiality of data and information applies across all systems: electronic and computerized information, paper information, telephone, verbal, and fax communications. All agency personnel shall respect and preserve the privacy, confidentiality, and security of confidential information. All agency personnel shall limit discussions of patient care, treatment, and services to appropriate personnel within the agency. Please keep all visit notes and communications in a folder or envelope prior to delivery to the office to ensure patient confidentiality. All personnel must sign a confidentiality statement during orientation and on an annual basis thereafter. For more information, please refer to Policy HH205. Next, we have patient rights. Each patient has rights pertaining to their care. Some of these rights include the right to be fully informed about care or services to be provided, to participate in the plan of care, to be able to identify visiting personnel through proper identification, and to address grievances and complaints regarding their care or treatment. Please be familiar with the patient rights which are given to each patient upon admission. Oftentimes, state inspectors, surveyors, and accreditation agencies will ask employees and contractors and patients questions pertaining to patient rights. One of the ways that I like to remember the patient rights in kind of a broad sense is to imagine the patient as a driver of the vehicle, and we are merely the passengers. We're there to help guide the patient through their healthcare decisions. However, we're not to make the decisions fully for them. The patient is always the one driving the car. The patient is always the one making the healthcare decisions for themselves. Next, we have conveying of charges. Patient financial agreements are signed prior to the start of care. For many of our patients, charges are billed to private insurance companies and the patient incurs no charges. For Medicare patients, charges for services and the patient's financial responsibility are discussed prior to the start of care. Additionally, agency staff will provide information or notification to the patient or the responsible party of any changes in the original care or service charges prior to the provision of the affected care or services. Next, we have advanced directives. Advanced clinical associates will provide each adult patient with information regarding advanced directives. Patients will be encouraged to communicate all desires regarding advanced directives to family members to allow for guidance in following the patient's wishes should the patient become unable to make decisions. The existence of an advanced directive or lack thereof will not determine the effectiveness and safety of the care, treatment, and services provided by the agency. Examples of advanced directives include a DNR, a healthcare proxy, a healthcare power of attorney, etc. One of the most important advanced directives for home health agency field staff would be the DNR. When you walk into a patient's house, that's one of the immediate things you need to know should you find the patient unconscious or unresponsive. Next, we have a conflict of interest. Conflict of interest occurs when an individual is involved in multiple interests, one of which could possibly compromise ACA's obligation to act in the best interest of our patients or the community we serve. Conflict of interest disclosure forms are signed upon hire and annually thereafter. Next, we have the Emergency and Natural Disaster Management Plan. Advanced Clinical Associates has developed specific procedures in response to disasters and emergencies that may occur. On an annual basis, there will be at least one emergency disaster drill. Each patient has procedures to be followed during emergencies that all personnel caring for the patient must be aware of. All patients upon intake are assigned an acuity level between 1 and 3, 1 being the highest acuity and 3 being the lowest. When there is an emergency or natural disaster, patients are generally triaged based on their acuity. The home health administrator contacts patients based on their acuity with the last names from A to M, and the Director of Patient Care Services contacts patients with the last name N through Z. Again, patients are contacted based on acuity first, but the last names are subdivided for contact amongst the home health administrator and the Director of Patient Care Services. Next, we have safety and security. Agency employees encounter hazardous situations on a daily basis. OSHA safety training, including bloodborne pathogens, is provided upon hire and annually. Additional safety and security training is provided as needed. Next is cultural diversity. With the increase of global motility of people, the patient population has become more ethnically diverse. Cultural competence refers to an ability to interact effectively with people of different cultures. Cultural differences can affect patient assessment, teaching, and outcomes, as well as overall compliance. Lack of cultural competence is oftentimes a barrier to effective communication. Cultural diversity continued. There are 5 elements that contribute to the ability to become more culturally competent. First, we start with valuing diversity. Next, having the capacity for cultural self-assessment. Next is being conscious of the dynamics when cultures interact. Then we have having institutionalized cultural knowledge. And finally, having developed adaptations of service delivery reflecting an understanding of cultural diversity. Communication barriers. Advanced Clinical Associates provides clients with limited English proficiency and sensory impairments, meaningful access, and equal opportunity to participate in services. Language assistance will be provided through use of competent bilingual staff or through a contracted interpreter. Auxiliary aids and services will be provided to those who are sensory impaired. Please contact the office if you feel your patient can benefit from the above services. Next, we have ethical issues. Advanced Clinical Associates has an ethical responsibility to the patients and the community we serve, and fulfills this responsibility through ethical care, treatment, services, and business practices. All personnel and professional activities should be conducted with honesty, integrity, respect, fairness, and good faith, in a manner that will be in the best interest of the patient population and community served. Next, we have professional boundaries. Healthcare providers enter relationships with clients that oftentimes involve knowledge of personal or intimate nature. Professional boundaries can be defined as the limits that protect the space between the professional's power and the client's vulnerability. These boundaries are distinctions between what is acceptable and unacceptable behavior between a client and their family. These are necessary because it is how we define what is our business and our responsibility and what is not. It is important to keep professional boundaries in mind when caring for patients in their homes. Next, we have the Performance Improvement Plan. As an agency, we monitor several things on an ongoing basis, including incidences, complaints and grievances, infections, and patient hospitalizations. Based on quarterly analysis, performance improvement plans are created and implemented. Incident reports. All incident report forms must be completed for all unusual occurrences involving patients, personnel, or family. Incidents to be reported include, but are not limited to, personal injury or endangerment, environmental hazards, malfunctions or failures of equipment, witnessed or unwitnessed falls, medication errors, adverse treatment reactions, unexpected death, any act of violence or serious injury. These reports must be submitted within 24 hours of the incident becoming known to staff. If the incident involves a patient, do not chart that an error or mistake was made or that an incident report was completed. Complaints and grievances. Advanced Clinical Associates has an internal grievance procedure in order to provide prompt resolution of complaints by employees and patients. We will investigate all complaints within 24 hours made by patients, their families, and staff. A complaint or grievance form must be filled out and turned into the office in order to start the process. As part of our compliance, one of the things we track is infections. So, infection control. Advanced Clinical Associates monitors all infections, including patients and employees. Anytime a patient is placed on antibiotics, an infection report form must be filled out and faxed to the office. If you are placed on antibiotics, you must inform someone in the office. We must track if we are passing infections on to our patients. Hospitalization. Whenever one of your patients gets admitted to the hospital, please notify the office. It is important that we monitor all the care we provide our patients, especially post-hospitalization, where there may be a change to the care plan. Next, we have our compliance program and the mission. The mission of our compliance program is to provide tools, guidance, so that all employees understand and comply with the letter and spirit of the laws and regulations that govern ACA. The goal of our compliance program is to prevent Medicare fraud, waste, and abuse. Compliance program. Advanced Clinical Associates must continually comply with rigorous federal, statutory, and regulatory standards. The compliance program is designed to prevent and detect criminal conduct, as well as to promote ethics in decision-making that becomes most critical when choosing among several options, all of which may be legally acceptable. Non-compliance will result in prompt disciplinary action. Compliance program continued. The Federal False Claims Act states that a person knowingly submits a false claim if he or she, number 1, has actual knowledge of the information, 2, acts in deliberate ignorance of the truth or falsity of the information, and 3, acts in reckless disregard of the truth or falsity of the information. The Federal False Claims Act provides liability and triple damages and a penalty of $5,500 to $11,000 per claim. As home health field staff, if you notice any kind of non-compliance happening, if you notice any kind of fraud, waste, or abuse, this means that you're obligated to report the occurrence or you're liable for the fraud. Next, we have OSHA, Right to Know laws. The OSH Act created the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, otherwise known as OSHA, which sets and enforces workplace safety and health standards. As an agency employee, you have the right to a safe and healthful working conditions. It is the duty of employers to provide workplaces that are free of known dangers that could harm their employees and to provide information about known dangers. Next, we have employee education. Advanced Clinical Associates provides mandatory education on a monthly basis. Topics include OSHA required education, safety, patient care, compliance program training, etc. Monthly education is due at the office by the 21st of each month. All of our education is online and can be found at the following URL. It's ftp://acahealthservices.com. You'll please note the login and password. Finally, we have our contact information. Our office is located in North Scottsdale at 14358 North Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, Suite 12, Scottsdale, Arizona 85260. The office number is 602-373-0540. The on-call number, it's available 24 hours a day. However, after 5, it becomes on-call number is 480-235-4290. Our fax is 480-477-6571, and our website is www.acahealthservices.com. Thank you very much for listening to this orientation. I hope you found it helpful. Please let us know if there are any questions you have, and thank you very much.